Welcome to the podcast today. I heard that you came to sit down and pray. Welcome to the podcast today. I heard that you came to learn some great things today. Hey y'all, welcome to the Art to Marissa podcast. We're in a singing mood today, and so we're just gonna vibe with it and let our inner child shine. Okay. We are talking about release today. Ooh, this is a very big topic, and I have my handy dandy journal right here because I channeled some really potent messages on release that I want to share with y'all. I want to share some personal stories of where release has been present in my life, both past and present. And a lot of people are being asked to release things that are no longer serving them, release versions of themselves as we step forward. 2024 is the ending of an era. It's the ending of a 4-year cycle from 2020, and now we are moving into another 4-year cycle from 2025 to 2028. This is magical. This is beautiful. And the collapse of reality as we know it, old earth as we know it, is falling, and parts of ourselves are dying with that. So we're gonna dive into that beautiful topic. I hope everyone had a lovely holiday and are feeling good. We're gonna release that juju too, and be sure to check out the YouTube this week for a release meditation that will help you to, you can come to it anytime you are looking to release something, anytime that you need a little grounding. And let's dive in. So this week I'm working with the affirmation, I am grateful for the abundance in my life, both material and physical. This affirmation came through in a yoga meditation last week that I did, and I loved it because abundance, a lot of people think of it as just material items or material wealth. However, abundance is energetic, baby. You are abundance. You are born of abundance. And so how can we be grateful for all of the abundance, the new opportunities, that free parking spot that you got the other day, the random snack that a friend brought you, the discounted item that you stumbled upon? Like, that is abundance. Abundance can look like many things. So I invite you this week to see where abundance is present, not just in the numbers, not just in the finances, in the job, and blah, 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 but in the everyday beauty, like a leaf falling right beautifully in front of you while you're walking. That's abundance. It can be. So let's redefine this term. And a self-care tool that I'm using this week is to just breathe. This week is Thanksgiving. This episode is coming next week. However, I'm really just trying to stay centered in my breath, because the holidays can be a little hectic. And if you haven't already, check out my guide on how to breathe through the holidays. This isn't just for the holiday season. This is just a good general guide that will help you if you get triggered in family situations or dynamics, you get overwhelmed at social gatherings or in environments with your coworkers, if you become ungrounded pretty easily or overwhelmed easily. Like, this is a guide that's not just for the holidays, it's for everything. And the main focus is returning to your center, returning to your breath, and dropping into the highest frequency you know is available to you, no matter what your outside presents. So definitely check that out. It is live now on my website. $30, just $30, and it's yours. So that's what I'm working with this week, and just noticing when I'm rushing, noticing the moments of stillness and matching my breath to them. And the symbol this week that came forward is understanding. I love this symbol. And it was interesting that it came forward. Understanding. It paired, and I'm trying to remember what it told me, because of course when you channel, it's like in one ear and out the other. It was, release leads to a deeper understanding of the place in which you're moving, which was interesting. And so we can pair release with this symbol, using this symbol to bring understanding to the releases that are needed, and also to gain understanding on where we're going after the release occurs. And the understanding card comes in, and it brings clarity. It brings this sense of like everything's gonna be okay. It's having compassion with yourself for where you're at, which is one of the 5 lifelines in the guide on how to breathe through the holidays. We have to have compassion, and compassion really is just understanding where you're at, where other people are at, and where your life is at right now. Releasing the expectations, releasing of how we think it should be going, and just coming into this deep understanding of like you are exactly where you're meant to be. And I love it. Selenite was paired with this beautiful symbol. I love selenite, and I have actually, my guides have told me that I am comparable to a giant like selenite stick, just because of the way in which my starseed codes kind of come online, is that I am a cleanser and an activator. And we talked about that in last week's episode with Naoma. Definitely listen to that. That was a incredible episode. So selenite really comes in, it's a cleansing crystal. It's an activating crystal. If you have crystals and you want to cleanse them, you put them next to or onto selenite. You'll find selenite dishes. I even have a large selenite that I hang my jewelry from. After I wear it, I put it on the selenite to just kind of cleanse it and bring it back to its purest form. So definitely hold selenite, because it makes the release less sticky. It comes in and kind of purifies it, so it's easy to detach whatever you are releasing. So yes, release. Let's go ahead. I'm gonna be somewhat reading from my journal for this episode, and tuning in bits of wisdom and bits of knowledge just from personal experience that I have. And release is, I've said this before I get into that, I'm still learning. I am right there with everyone. By no means do I think I know it all, because Lord knows I do not. I know what I have experienced, I know what I have learned, and I know what I've picked up from others and what resonates with my being. That's all I know. And so I share that with love. And so this release episode, I asked Spirit, I was like, okay, what's the topic for the podcast? What are we going to talk about? And they brought through release, and Spirit brought through release because a lot of people are being asked to release the ways they've been living, to release the expectations, release where they think they've been and where they're going, because everything has shifted for us. We are in such a large space of limitless potential, and dropping the limitations. Like, limitations are no longer present for us, and timelines are moving rapidly. And so where we think we were once going, maybe 3 years ago, we had this like very strong vision, or even like a month ago, you had this strong vision of something that came through, and you're like, yes, it feels good, let's roll with it, let's go. And now you're like, okay, that has completely changed. That's okay. Timelines are moving so quickly right now, so it's important to go with the flow. Go with the evolution, go with where your energy is pulling you in every moment, because it's going to hop around, it's going to jump around, and what you think you may have known has most likely completely changed. And so it's good to release that. And I had this moment this past week, so this is a very relevant topic, and I'm still learning. I am still learning how to release in a graceful fashion, whatever you want to say. Like, release can be hard for me sometimes. But I had this moment, so I have been wanting to move out of this state for just a while now, probably since 2021, early 2021. It's been on my mind, and I did a little bit of travels, van life for a bit, which I thought was like my way out. I was like, okay, cool, I'm leaving. I'm gonna move out of state after I am done with these travels. That didn't happen. I got called back, and since then I've been here in different places. I was like, North Carolina, let's go. I love this place, let's go. I went there, didn't feel right. And I had to release that idea. I grieved so much because I had set up this life so much in my head because I wanted it so badly that when I realized it wasn't happening, or it wasn't meant to be right now, I traveled there. It was my first ever solo trip. It was also my first ever solo trip after the relationship of the person that I traveled with, doing car life for about three months. And so I was camping, and it was the first time I had gotten out and used, it was like a year later, that I had used all of the gear that we used to use. So not only was I grieving him, that relationship, grieving that version of myself, I was also, we had talked about moving to North Carolina. I loved North Carolina. And so we kind of built this like future in our heads together of that. And I definitely grieved that when we had originally broke up. But fast forwarding a little over a year later, I go there by myself, and I did not realize how much grief was still being held over that idea, over that want to live there. And Asheville Asheville is so heavy in my heart anyways. It has such a beautiful place. Appalachia, like, oh, it rests so deeply in my heart, and I love it so much there. However, I saw in that moment, and I really do think I was being called to those mountains, not only to heal, but to grieve. Because, man, Mother Appalachia held me as I released. And sometimes, like, for me, release shows up as tears most of the time. It shows up as anger, it shows up as tears, and it shows up as, like, body movements for me. And I would say it's important to find how release feels in your body. Start to notice, and maybe take it to your journal, of how, like, what do you do? Notice, is there a pattern whenever you're releasing something? What thoughts come up? What patterns or self-protection may come forward, or defense mechanisms? What comes forward for you when you release? For me, it's a lot of ugly crying. You know what? I'm going to rephrase that. It's a lot of beautiful crying. Thank you, Spirit. Because crying is beautiful. Crying gets to be, and it just started raining. Oh, divine. Rain is so cleansing when you are releasing, and that is so weird. I'm remembering that it literally rained for a straight 48 hours when I went to Asheville. So I was camping, solo camping, and it rained for fucking 48 hours straight, and everything was wet. And I remember, like, that night I was not able to like I slept in it one night. The rain was so loud that I did not get any sleep. So it was like a hot mess of a trip, but like so divinely aligned, and I'm so grateful for just the release. Yeah, I would be hiking and bawling, just hiking by myself and crying, driving and crying. I remember like getting to the drive where you start to see the mountains and I'm just bawling, and then leaving Asheville, having released that grief. I had to pull over for like 20 minutes and just cry, and that's okay. Like, make the space to release. If you take anything from this, you must create the space to release, because if you don't, it's got nowhere to go. It's got nowhere to go. And if it's got nowhere to go, it's just going to end up in your body, and it's going to show up like a sore muscle. It's going to show up as chest pain. It's going to show up as a weird knee. It's going to show up as a tumor or cancer someday. You know, release is so needed. And most of our physical ailments are energetic. So definitely, yeah, that's a powerful moment. And find, how does release show up for you? And the next little spirit bit that we got, release is the act of evolution, the act of transition into something new. It must occur in order for a new energy to come in. And I really did feel that in Asheville. It was the last time that I really grieved that relationship and that partner. It was the last time I fully grieved that part of myself. And it was the giant release that I needed to take in order to move forward into this era of self-love. Because I was wanting to, after that relationship, I was like, you know what? I'm focusing on self. I am going to be with myself, and I do not want to enter another relationship until I know so strongly in my being that I can do anything by myself. Because I definitely had relied on partners in the past to do things. Even I didn't think I could travel by myself and do van life by myself. So when I met that person, I kind of clung on to them, and I was like, oh, thank God, I can do this with someone. I can leave and not do it alone. But what was that doing? That's just, here's my power. Take me on a joyride. You know, like, no. So I stepped in. I was wanting to step into this era of reclaiming my power, being the boss bitch that I know I am, focusing on myself, really honing in to what I feel in my rawest form and who I am in my rawest form. That's when I was like completely sober, eating the cleanest I have ever eaten. Like I went full guns into that. And it was so beautiful. In hindsight, I'm seeing that trip was such a jump spark into this evolution of experiencing that. So if you want to evolve, know that you're gonna have to release some things. Know that as you continue to expand, the items, the people, the places, the material things that are no longer in resonance for the timeline in which you are calling in, they're gonna fade. They're gonna fall out of your life, and that's okay. Because you know what? You're gonna have new things come in. You're gonna meet new people. You're gonna have new experiences. And it's going to round out and blow your mind and be absolutely incredible. And coming back, I realized I never finished my thought on, so it was North Carolina at first. And then, I got back from my trip, and I have been with my parents, living with my parents since the fall of 2022. It is now, I just moved out, and it's the fall of 2024, so about 2 years. through those 2 years, I was like, okay, I'm going to move to North Carolina. Ooh, I'm going to move to San Diego. I'm going to move to Australia. I'm going to move to this place. And while I was doing that, I was not anchoring myself into what is available to me now. I mean, even when I moved back into my parents' house, I had so much resistance. I didn't even sleep in my room. I slept in my brother's room. I kept all my things packed. I refused to settle into the space because I was so afraid that if I settled into the space, I wouldn't leave. This place would just hold me forever. And that was so scary. And it's taken me these past 2 years to really come into releasing that idea and releasing the thoughts that I have to be somewhere else to expand and to evolve and to grow. It's like, no. That's just a thought. You can do that here. You can do that right now. You can do that wherever you are. So this past week, I thought it was funny that this was the topic because I had a moment because my partner and I, we've been talking Australia. And the past year, it's been Australia for me. Just jumping through these places. I really do feel connected to Australia, and it definitely does feel different. However, I don't think it's happening right now, and that's okay. But I had this moment of, what if I just released the need to move? What if I fully said fuck it and just didn't think about it, didn't worry about it, and just know that if it's meant to happen, it's gonna happen, and when it does happen, I'll be held, and that the place that I go will be amazing. But I don't need to know. And I'm creating so much, honestly, sadness and resistance in myself for wanting to be somewhere else all the time and thinking that my life will be better somewhere else. It's come back to the present and let's release that. And how do we release expectations? Well, I'm so glad you asked. This is what Spirit said. Staying in the present moment of excitement, when you first get excited of that thing, hold the excitement and don't put any weight over the end result. Stay in the excitement of it occurring rather than, if this happens, then I will feel this way, or if this happens, then blank will happen. Because if you're thinking of it if I move, then I'm going to have way more opportunities. If I move, then I'm going to be way happier. If you put that weight upon an idea or a manifestation, you are going to create resistance within yourself because you are putting your power, your energy so far into the future that you aren't able to see that you can have that very thing now and also experience a move or experience whatever it is that you are creating. If we can stay excited about the idea and just keep it in the limitless potential, keep it in the open space, then we keep the weight off of it and it can flow however it needs to and however it wants to show up in our lives. So stay open and in the headspace of anything is possible, and no matter the outcome, it can still be exciting. For example, I have this opportunity to become a practitioner giving Akashic Records readings at an energy center locally, and I'm so excited about this. It's absolutely a fabulous opportunity. It feels so in line, and I'm just grateful. And I gave my demo readings to the 2 people that run it today, and this is just so exciting for me. I think it went really, really well, and I'm eager to hear what they think. However, I'm open to whatever happens. I am just excited that I was able to share the Akashic Records with 2 new people. I'm excited that I got to connect, and now there's an opportunity to give meditation workshops and give other workshops at this place as well, not just the readings. So whatever the outcome, I know in my heart, I would love to be a practitioner at this place, and I know it is possible for me. However, whatever the outcome, I can still just be excited for the experience, which is such a beautiful gift. And Jacqueline, my friend from the Netherlands, she brought this forward, and I admire her for this because I connected her with Be Free Astrology. Go check out that episode. And she was like, you know what? I don't even care if I give a human design reading or not. I'm just so excited to connect with her. I'm so excited to just connect with a new spiritual person. And I was like, damn, that's really cool. There was no weight or expectation behind wanting to connect or potentially making money or having an energetic exchange. She wasn't even thinking about any of that. She was just so present in her excitement to connect with someone. And that's beautiful. Shout out, Jacqueline. I love you. And I'm trying to hold that more. And that moment sits with me because I have tried to hold that more. You know what? Just I know that I probably will not be living in Indiana my whole life. And whenever it happens, it happens. And I'm just going to live my life right now and be open to the opportunities, be open to the experience. And that's all you can do. That's all you can do. Release is the step you need to take for non-attachment to sink in. Not being attached to the outcome or item leaves space for the evolution and the existence to be felt. Growth occurs when we can stay unattached to our current version of self. Non-attachment is being okay with any result or any way of being, because no matter what happens, your well-being will be completely unaffected. And Ram Dass actually talks about this. I meant to look up this video to give a better reciting of the example, but he talks about how it's okay to have preferences, and it's cool to have preferences, but to not let those preferences define your energy or your energetic excitement or happiness. And so you can prefer green. If you were to choose from green or blue, you can prefer green, but you're not going to be affected if you end up getting blue. It's this idea that you are completely neutral and non-attached to all outcomes, because your well-being will be completely unaffected through whatever comes forward. And I want to share this release ritual that came forward for me the other day that kind of has to do with the being non-attached to versions of yourself. And this kind of ties back to the North Carolina story. I was so attached to that version of myself that I had created and experienced. And that's why the grief and the pain of letting go was so strong and hard for me, because I could only see that I wasn't living in limitless potential. I was living so anchored into a timeline that wasn't occurring. And I saw 999 last week, and I love angel numbers. I always ask, when I see an angel number, I always ask the angel number to merge with my being. So if I see 999 energy, please merge with my being. And then I ask, Spirit, what does this 999 code hold for me in this present moment? And I received different answers regarding the angel numbers that I have been seeing. I've been seeing 333 insane amounts the past couple of days, and I love that. But this 999 brought through this lovely message of merging. In order to merge with the place you know you are going, you must hold honor and gratitude for where you have been. And this really resonated with me because I'm going through a lot of transitions, and I was definitely wanting to take a moment to just show gratitude for my parents for the past 2 years, show gratitude to that space of self-discovery and healing, to show gratitude for the womb space, the void that I have been in since like summer 2022, and to just show gratitude for all of the things and the people that have held me during that version, because I can tell through my physical experiences, but also on an energetic level, I am changing drastically right now. I am stepping into this new version of self, and through the move, through a new job, through these new opportunities to give readings, through just all of the ideas and creativity that is coming to me. And this message was reminding me to, take a moment to honor where you've been. You must honor and fully come into acceptance of where you were in order to move forward. Because if you don't come into acceptance and closure, that box stays open. That version has a little connection to you, and will tug on that connection, and you're gonna be standing in this like limbo, 1 foot in the past, 1 foot in the future, or however you see it. And so in order to put both feet into this new door that I'm walking through, into this new timeline, I took a moment, and it was divine, y'all, what happened. So my roommate, he was like, let's have a fire tonight. And I'm like, sick. Fire ritual. Let's go. Release is so good with fire. I love working with fire when I want to release something. And the air spirits are also really good. We're going to talk about that later. But fire, burning, yes. Like, I'm sure you've heard of, like, you want to release something, you write that shit on a paper, and you burn it. And that's exactly what I did. I took my journal out there, and we got that fire going, and I took a moment of just silence, of gratitude, of reflection, and I wrote everything down that I'm grateful for. And gratitude has been the topic, also another lifeline in my guide on how to breathe through the holidays. It's been a topic this month, and release through gratitude is really powerful. If you can release and move through an emotion with gratitude, you are moving through the higher frequency of that emotion. And so that's what I decided to do with the gratitude little page that I did. Just every single thing that happened these past 2 years, I wrote on that paper and showed my gratitude for it. And at the end of it, literally my pen, not this pen, but a different pen, it was like this. And it's been with me literally the past 2 years. On, like, I was 2 to 3 sentences probably from being done. The fucking pen stopped working. The pen ran out of ink, y'all. How fucking divine and cool is that shit? But I continued writing. And I was like, I think I ended it like, I am ready to integrate and fully become this new version of self, anchoring into this present moment, into the new opportunities, into everything that I am. And so it is. And that shit was clear because my pen ran out. That was just wild. And then I folded that shit and I watched it burn. And I shit you not. Like literally the very next day, someone came into the place that I work and she was like, I'm opening this new like sauna and ice bath place. And I was like, no way. I give meditations. How sick would it be, to give meditations at a place like that? And like connection immediately happened. That Friday, I went into this energetic center and the connection immediately happened. Like opportunity after opportunity of this new evolved version of myself is coming forward so I can continue stepping into it. And then today, so Trevor Hall, spiritual singer, I would say that in 2022, what sparked the womb space, the void, the massive transition that I went through back then was a ceremony where I sat with the medicine Bufo. This is 5-MeO-DMT. I sat in ceremony with this medicine and holy shit. I worked with an integration coach because it was so intense for me, and she sometimes stumbles upon people that are moving through a shamanic initiation, and that's exactly what was happening to me. And I shit you not, for like 6 months, you know what, we'll save that for another podcast episode because holy cow, it was intense. And that is really the moment that sparked the version of myself who I am today, right now, the person that you hear. And I'm so grateful. And let me tell you, if you're trying to release stuff, do some fucking Bufo, because dear Lord, it was just 2 years. The past 2 years have literally just been release after release after release after release, like whether it's trauma, thoughts, patterns, people, places, like everything. When people say they have gone through an ego death, like sign me up, I've been through 12. Maybe more the past 2 years. Like, holy cow. And I'm so grateful for that medicine. I wasn't for the first 6 months. I was like, what the heck did I do? But now I can see, I have the understanding of what occurred during that release and how it was so magical for my lifetime. So literally the day after, I was freaking out. My reality felt like it was melting. I was like coming from my like soul self, and I drove by a mall, and I literally, all of the signs, like, and they say, I got this paperwork like a couple days later, but the very next day I didn't have it, and they were like, please avoid malls and signs and lots of people because you're going to be very sensitive, blah, blah, blah. I was like, damn, wish I would have fucking known that, because I was driving by the mall and I just started crying and freaking the fuck out, because it was this remembrance of like having been to Earth before, and this knowing of like, what the hell has happened? How did we get here? What is going on? Like I was so confused. It was like a full-blown freak out. Again, we're gonna probably talk about this experience in another episode, but I went back to the place where I did it, and the woman was like, she calmed me down, and she was like, have you heard of Trevor Hall? You should listen to his song. What's the title of the song? Don't Rush Your Healing, something like that. It's like, you can't rush your healing. Darkness has its teachings. Such a beautiful song. Definitely check it out. That literally, so that held me during that time, beginning of the transition. Shit you not, today in meditation with Zoe Flo. Check out her episode. So many shout outs today. We love that. love my friends, love the community. So literally at the end of meditation today, I'm like feeling good. I just recorded the demo version or demo readings this morning to step into this opportunity of being a practitioner at this place. What comes on at the end while we're in Shavasana? Fucking Trevor Hall, Don't Rush Your Healing. And I just immediately connected and knew, and I was like, oh, yes, thank you, Spirit. Like that, because I haven't heard the song in a long time. I haven't heard the song in a while, and that came on, and immediately I knew it was showing me that you cannot rush your healing. If you are moving through an era and you feel like it's never ending, I want you to know that you are exactly where you need to be. Continue to release, because in these releases are your recalibration to step into this new version of self. And I never thought, like a year and a half ago, when I was deep in the void, deep in the womb space, I thought I was losing the light. I mean, Bufo really brought me back to a child, and I had to grow, and I have been growing the past 2 years to this state, and everything has been new for me. I mean, I even lost my channeling, like, connection with my guides for a moment and thought I couldn't do it. Like, there were so many moments where I was starting from the ground up, and you cannot rush these moments. You cannot rush your experience. You must have the experience that is being presented, because Spirit knows best. And in this rebuilding of each area of my life on a spiritual, energetic, and physical level, these modalities within self, these frequencies within self have become so much stronger and anchored in and grounded within my being, because I started from level 1. I started from not knowing shit. And that the medicine really broke that within me, because I was a little egoic. I was very egoic, let me rephrase, back then. And I had a lot of opinions, okay? No longer. Yeah, no, that was wiped clean. Goddamn. But it was, this was just such a beautiful moment. It's like, okay, I understand the song now. Because at first I was kind of annoyed. To be honest, I played the song and I was like, fuck this. Like, I feel like I'm going insane. It feels like my reality is literally melting before me. Like, I look in the mirror and I have no idea who I am. But now, now I can show gratitude for that song and the power it holds. Because it's true. Darkness has its deepest teachings, and you cannot rush your healing. So, I talked about the air spirits earlier. I want to come back to this. So release acts as a palate cleanser, encouraging us to change and forever mutate. We are forever changing and releasing and causing destruction so creation can happen. It's this beautiful, like, orgasmic way of just evolution and experience to have as a human and energetic energy in the universe. And release can feel like a breath of fresh air, and it's because of the energy of air. The wind spirits are very powerful when release is present, and I invite you, if you are wanting to release something, call upon the wind or air spirits and say, air spirits, please merge with my being and fully cleanse and take away all the energies that need releasing right now. and you will feel it work, and you will feel everything kind of blow away. And the best thing too is if you go outside and you call upon the air spirits to cleanse you and to help you move through the release in which you are moving through, the wind spirits will just come and cleanse your energy, and it's so beautiful. So the fire spirits and the wind spirits, really, really powerful when you are releasing something. So the release of relationships is huge right now in a lot of realms, whether it's friendships or, romantic relationships. As we continue to evolve and step into new frequencies, the people around us are going to be changing. And again, that's okay. That is okay, because there are more people out there that will better serve you, better serve your energy, and better connect with you on your frequency, helping you to evolve and expand. And it's important that when we can release someone, it creates the space for them to grow too. It's not just for us and our perspective, but it helps them too. We must release their energy. You can do a cord cutting. You can literally speak to them energetically out loud and be like, hi, I release you. I'm sorry that I've held on to you. I release you. And this too helps the perspective as well. So in 2022, I had some falling outs with some friends, and I'm really grateful for these falling outs because they taught me about the version of myself that they knew. It taught me about just insecurities that I had within myself. A lot of them. It showed me how ungrounded I was in my own power, because I took what someone else's idea of me was and I let that become how I thought about myself. And y'all, let's release that way of being. And I have. And as I came back to town and just started reconnecting with one of them and kind of mending the friendship, I noticed that every time I hung out, I was expecting to see the version that I knew of her. However, 6 months to a year had passed. She's no longer that person. And by me thinking that she was still that version of herself, it was holding our relationship back. It was holding our connection in a place that wasn't true. And so I really did the work to release the expectation over her and who she was, and to just release the connection that we once had, and do cord cuttings and cleansing and fire rituals with that, to then start building this new friendship. I had to let the old die in order for this new connection to take place between each other. If you've had a falling out with someone, this is really important to do, because yes, we are all human. We all make mistakes. We all do things that sometimes we wish we wouldn't have. However, you are acting from that place. That place is no longer here in the present. The version of you that did that, literally the moment after you did that, is no longer present. You are a new version. And how can you also hold that knowing of the person that was involved in something? Because they're no longer that person either. And if you hold that over their head, you are holding yourself back from witnessing a new version of them. You're holding yourself back from witnessing a new connection with them. So how can you release what you once knew about someone, even if they did something bad to you, even if they were a different way? How can you hold the knowing that they are a completely different person now, and therefore they're going to act like it? And when you hold that knowing, that's the reality in which you will be presented with. Very, very big. So make peace with your relationships. Make peace with the connections that may no longer be present but still come to mind a lot. or you notice patterns keep coming up. Maybe you have a relationship with your family that is broken. Forgiveness leads to release. Also, another lifeline, we're just talking about this course all day, every day. Another lifeline is forgiveness in my guide on how to breathe through the holidays. Forgiveness leads to the release, and the release leads to your evolution. Let's see what else. So, release happens intuitively and over time. When you are ready, your body intuitively knows when and what it needs and can release at any given time. Yes. So if you want to release, I invite you to do this practice. And my integration coach after Bufo actually helped me to do this practice because I had so much energy from like just my soul experience, like all of the experiences my soul has ever experienced. They were coming forward, and like so much grief and pain and suffering and anguish was just like being released, and I had no idea what it was. I just like was crying and I felt horrible, and anytime she would tune into my energy, she'd be like, "Oh my God, Marissa, you are holding so much." And so she would walk me through this release practice where you kind of quiet your mind and you talk to your soul and you ask your soul, right now I give you the space to release whatever you want to release in this moment. You can do 5, 10, 30 minutes. Definitely give, if it's something heavy, definitely give more time. If you just want to play with this, you can do less time, or you can just leave it open. So I ask you to release any and all energies that you no longer wish to hold on to right now, and start to breathe and just feel the release happen. You may cry, your body may shake, you may want to like wail and scream, and light language has been a big thing for me that has helped me release a lot. And you just keep going and just allow yourself, and maybe nothing happens, but you're just able to sit in silence, or maybe thoughts and flashbacks are coming forward. Try not to attach to anything, just stay neutral and let everything flow through you. Let your body move, and I can feel like my body is moving right now, just back and forth, and I can tell like energy is just flowing through and just moving out of my system. But other times, yeah, you're gonna want to scream, you're gonna want to fucking hit something, and you're gonna want to cry and let it out. And when you feel a pause in the experience, or you're like, okay, this might be a little too much, or I'm ready to end it, you say, soul, I am now ready to complete this release session, and I ask that you please bring in source frequency, God's will, realigning my spirit, my mind, my body, and my emotions to God's will. And envision this beautiful white light coming through your head on your inhale, expanding in your heart, and as you exhale, continuing down out of your root chakra, of your sits bones. So inhaling that white light into your heart, exhaling it out your sits bones. And this white light comes in and purifies your energy and really helps you to ground again. Because oftentimes when we are releasing, it can be a very, very ungrounded feeling. We can get very flighty. And I know a lot of times when I've experienced grief or I've experienced just deep emotions, I kind of feel like a balloon afterwards. And so it's really important that you ground and cleanse your energy again, because that will make the releases a bit more sustainable for you energetically, and you'll be able to go through your day and move forward when you cleanse and rush that through. And 2, once I feel grounded, I just start bringing the white light into my heart and expanding it around me, feeling this white light all within the auric field that surrounds me, into the energetic egg that surrounds my being. And so inhaling that white light into my chest and exhaling it out of my chest and allowing my solar plexus energy, my heart energy to just sit in this beautiful power, this beautiful divine energy to surround me. And that really creates this recharging effect to your energy. And the time of release, guys, is now. Allow the release to be a catalyst for you and this new version of self to anchor in and become. You are always becoming. You are always releasing. How can we do that with ease? How can we do that in a playful way? And I mentioned gratitude. I want to share one more story. So after that relationship that I had 2 years ago, I remember the day I drove up. He lived like 50 minutes at the time away from me. The day I drove up and we officially broke up, I remember getting in my car and being like, how the hell am I gonna drive home right now? I am a mess. I am crying. And I started driving and I was just bawling and like debating pulling over. And immediately spirit was like gratitude, gratitude, gratitude. And I was like, okay. And I think I had just learned how to do a gratitude rampage like in the previous months. And I was like, okay, I'm just gonna do a gratitude rampage for the relationship. And so I started like listing off every single thing. We had our problems, but I ignored that for right now. Every single thing I was grateful for in that relationship. And as I'm driving and just crying, I am preaching this gratitude for the experience, for the divine union, for him, for me, for the travels, for the adventures, like everything. And that gratitude in that moment shifted my experience of grief, because grief, every emotion has a frequency. We can experience the emotion in a lower frequency or a higher frequency, and gratitude helped me to experience the higher frequency of grief, which then allowed it to pour through so much easier. And as I kept driving and just speaking, I started to calm down. My energy started to grow and activate, and I stopped crying and I made it home safely. And as I continued to grieve in my own way through gratitude, I softened, and the grief wasn't as painful as it once was when I was experiencing it in fear and in worry and in shame and in doubt. It was truly a magical experience that has stuck with me through the years. I constantly kind of get flashbacks to that moment because of how powerful it was. So definitely, if you're releasing something right now, try to release it through gratitude. And release asks us to gently transmute. Through our bodies is where release happens. Sit with your body and ask where release is needed, and it will show you. Call upon the release spirits and ask them to merge with your being and fully integrate the release that needs to take place. Trust that it will come. Trust what it shows, and stay open to how your reality shifts. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening to this beautiful episode. Damn, I feel like so much came through in that. So many personal stories, so much information on release. Thank you so much for listening. I really do. My intention every time is just to share what I've experienced in hopes that it will help someone and it will activate something within someone. And I trust that that has occurred, because goddamn, I was activated by that information. I hope you have a beautiful week. And remember, the 2025 energy is present. It is here. And we must release what no longer serves us as we move forward. I hope you have a beautiful week, Again, check out YouTube for the release meditation. It'd be great to do daily. Also, be sure to check out my guide on how to breathe through the holidays. And if you haven't checked out my website for my services and you want to work out one-on-one together, I would absolutely adore and be honored to work with you. So check that out too. Much love. Bye for now.